Get him. She hung the fucking mouth.
He said it would only hurt for a little while. But I could see the struggle locked up behind every one of my mother's blemishes, whipped into her face by past experiences, bleeding into her present through unconscious repetition of history. Her body language whispers defeat. Through every incomplete move she makes, I could smell the mental instability dripping from her thoughts. Her pores reek of insecurities preserved by a face she puts on out of a jar called a victim. He told my mom it would only hurt for a little while. But I could hear the pain in her voice. Every time she speaks, that her actions tell the story of a little girl trapped inside of her, screaming for help, screaming not to be touched, screaming for her mother, who was deaf to my mom's 6-year-old moans and screams, identical to those she made in bed the night before with him, using the same hands he used to caress my grandmother's body to molest her 6-year-old daughter, my mother, a wound that will never heal. Just dressed with the accessory of time, his hands started at 6 and stopped at 14, 8 years with her legs split wide, the tabletop where he rested his bones, and my grandmother sat through every meal, eyes closed, while my mother's cries played in the background on repeat. Screams sounding like shattered glass, reflecting broken words that cut so deep into her soul, her pain that laces my genetics. Bandaged by my grandmother's denial, justice can't be found while that man's lies still roam around the house. I swear I didn't touch her. I believe you, baby, now come back to bed. Sweeping the dust of my mother's innocence under the welcome that he and my grandmother wiped their dirty feet on. Mauricio told my mom it would only hurt for a little while. But I feel like he reached forward into time and raped her 6-year-old mind. Every moment of my life, I needed her to be there for me. I could hear her screaming for another way out. Every time I gave her another way into motherhood, she ran to put pieces of the past together at the bottom of every alcoholic glass, drowning in the shattered noise of her lost innocence, death to her children's moans and screams, identical to those she made in bed years before with him, using the same hands he used to molest her to steal her focus away from being my mother. When will this hereditary pain and suffering stop? I just want to stop moaning and screaming, laying in bed, letting the same man use the same hands to rape my emotions and impregnate me with resentment. I've been carrying this load for years, bending backwards to erase time, but this resentment, baby, is too far along to abort. So after 22 years of labor, I left resentment right on my grandmother's doorstep, right on top of my mother's innocence, moaning and screaming, while Mauricio sweeps it under the rug with the rest of his dirty little secrets, strangling generations for sick pleasure. His hand started at grandmother and ended in the mind of granddaughter. Now we lie here, broken in the hands of molestation, waiting for someone to